You're welcome today to my Liberation Gospel Jungle Justice in Nigeria. Briefly, I started it yesterday, but today I want to just talk directly on how it affects the society in Nigeria. We look at the causes. I want to briefly talk about the Bakassi. During the Bakassi era, then I was back home. Then the society of ours is now a society of thugs. Thugs are leaders. They've emerged leaders in today's Nigeria, even armed robbers. And I want to highlight with examples of. If you remember the Otokoto issue, I was in Owerri on that particular day when the people of Owerri descended on the Otokoto hotels on Amakohia. I think, Amakohia Road. Yeah, I was there, and things. Back home, I was privileged to get information to witness. I have eyewitness accounts on. Things like that, particularly on the time of Bakassi when I was a student leader at Nnamdi Azikiwe University. But before I go on to that, jungle justice in Nigeria. Yeah, why do we kill? Why do we summarily deliver justice? And when we say deliver justice, we burn people to death. Do we have the right to burn people to death? Why do we do that? Why do we summarily hack people down, get their hands and neck hung in a tire, or get rubber tires hung on their neck, set them alight with fuel and fire? And this is really horrible, because something happened yesterday, so I said let me just take a look at this. Who really deserve this jungle justice, so to say? Because most times, the victims of this jungle justice are people that may have may be innocent, may have committed crime based on poverty, based on their lack of what it takes to survive. Yes, I know that we can argue about the fact that some of the victims of this jungle justice deserve that based on the heinous crime they commit. But is it justifiable? Why do we do that? There are some reasons why we set out to implement, jungle justice on criminals or suspects, so to say. First of all, I want to look at the causes. You and I know, if you scrutinize very well, that one of the main causes, or so to say, of people getting into crime, especially in our part of the world, is poverty. Because when someone is poor, the person can go a long way to do anything in order to be okay. You see, poverty brings, I can see someone, Julia Chiffon, my brother, that is true. Okay, I can see most of the people that are involved in this jungle, crime that's warrant jungle justice. Poverty. Because I've seen whereby you see a young girl striped naked because she stole a phone, or because she stole something, or because, a lot things that are barbaric or ordinarily, it's inhuman. We get someone naked on the streets because she's stolen a phone, or because she's pilfered something, hairdo, attachment, or even a woman in the market who tried to steal something to feed her children. I'm not saying that armed robbers have not been meted jungle justice. Because I'm coming to that because there's a case in Owerri. Some of you may know about that. In the 90s, the Ukachukwu issue when ritualism, was rife in that part of Nigeria, and the people decided to go against that because the government of the day feigned ignorance, and they kept. They weren't doing anything, so the people were so they got fed up with the whole situation, and they decided to take laws into their hands. Yes, that's one of the causes. I'm coming to that, but poverty. We have to understand that one of the reasons why people get into crime, especially petty crimes, even armed robbery in part of our world, is poverty. Because resources are not going to everyone. There's no level playing ground. People can't get a job. So how do you expect them to survive when the society can't take care of them? Of course, they'll be looking at payfaring. They'll be looking at robbery. They'll be looking at stealing. That's one of the reasons of crimes, that warrant this jungle justice. As a matter of fact, it's a result of poverty, and this is what we are talking about in today's Nigeria. That's why we have said that we are not going back on the issue of the agitation on the Republic of Biafra. We've seen what's happening with other sections of the country. I saw the southwestern Nigeria coming up. They had a rally, and they said it is either going back to the regional structure of Nigeria, or that the country should break. In fact, many of them are talking about Oduduwa Republic, and that's what the current agitation is fueling, because Nigeria is very sick. But unfortunately, people don't want to cure it. They just want to live it like that. But all the same, we thank God that people are coming up. We are not talking about a fight or war. Because when you talk about the inherent problems in the country, some people will start talking about bloodshed, fight. We don't want war. Nobody's talking about war. But we are sick of what is happening in that society. We are sick of the problems in the country, and I am sick about the jungle justice system in Nigeria. Whereby people can just gather and set somebody ablaze. And many people have been killed just like that over flimsy reasons. Many are even innocent, but in the case of a mob hell-bent on doing something, at times there's no justice. You won't even be given the chance to be heard. It's not like a law court whereby you will be given the chance to talk. Nobody hears you out. They will just set you ablaze, and this is horrible. So that's why I said, man, this is unbecoming. We need to talk about it, about the jungle justice. It's terrible. It's not only in Nigeria, it's in Africa, but the case of Nigeria, it's unbecoming. And unfortunately, the people that deserve this jungle justice are not getting that. So poverty is one of the causes of what drives these victims to crime. So people are not looking at that. And we need to start looking at that, because we are crying about the system. When we keep crying about the system, that a lot of people are poor. So why do we still met out jungle justice on people when you and I know that many? Okay, look at those that are being born. Most of them, when you look at them, you see that their poverty is written all over their faces. But because of the mentality, I don't know which kind, the orientation that has gone into many Nigerians. They won't look at the faces. They won't look at the people that they are meting this jungle justice on. Because when you bring, I mean, if you place someone that is about to be born and you place a typical Nigerian politician, you see that they are different. One looks very, very impoverished, looks haggard, looks tattered, looks hungry, and the other one looks robust and well fed. So I want us to start looking at these things. Jungle justice, why jungle justice in Africa? Why jungle justice, particularly in Nigeria? Poverty. Because when there's poverty, people will go extra mile in order to survive. We cannot deny that fact, because poverty warrants stealing. I mean, before we talk about armed robbery, poverty warrants stealing, and it brings up desperate measures. When you are poor, when you cannot eat, when you see the part of this part of the world we reside today in the West, you can't talk about jungle justice. I mean, if you even hit someone, you are in trouble. Let alone delivering summary justice. I mean, execution or burning. I mean, taking a life. You don't have a right. Who told you that you have a right to take somebody's life? And the person you are taking his or her life, are you better than the person? Because one time or the other, you must have done something wrong. I mean, I don't want to start quoting religious books, but I want you to look at it in a natural way. Will you tell me that since you've been born, you have not done anything that is bad? I mean, I can't believe you if you start arguing that since you were born, you haven't committed any crime, you haven't committed any. I mean, I know crimes may have scales or categories, that you haven't done anything that is bad. Because you will see in some part of our society, over little things, people are summarily executed. I mean, people are summarily put to death. And we, Sharia, we talk against amputations and things like that. Whereas you that was done to meet for his family, for herself. I mean, we don't have a right to take somebody's life. So poverty causes most of these victims to get into this act, especially in Africa and Nigeria. You and I do know that if means were met up, if things were well, most of these crimes wouldn't be committed. I mean, I want you to juxtapose some of you who live in this part of the world, who come from Africa. I want you to juxtapose activities or ways of life here you domicile and where you were born, and see, juxtapose the two I mean, ways of life, and see that if things were a bit okay, if people will keep paying for it, or most of these victims, most of these people that must have died as a result of jungle justice, that it will be so. I seriously doubt it. So poverty, we have to look at the fact that if we talk about poverty, if we keep talking about poverty, if we say that poverty is bad, if we say that the leadership has not done excellently well on delivering of the dividends of democracy, or on equitability on or sharing, I mean, making means of livelihood available for the people, then we need to stop this jungle justice. I mean, we need this reorientation. We need this reorientation. We don't have the right to take somebody's life. Now, because you can't tell me that you haven't committed any crime in one time or the other. So the first cause of this acts by victims of this jungle justice, I mean, it's poverty. Then corruption and unprofessionalism of the law enforcement agents. I said it a bit. I just talked about it a bit yesterday on the unprofessionalism of the security apparatus in Nigeria, especially the police. Nigerian police is known for that is bribery. You see the videos on social media. I keep telling people that the rise of social media, it's something that is important to our society. It has helped a lot, and we must make use of the advantages, you know, to advance the cause of humanity, to advance every facet of our livelihood. And you've seen videos of members of the Nigerian police collecting bribes. And let's not, I want to talk about it here, because the failure of the security agents in Nigeria is one of the cause of this jungle justice, because people don't have confidence in the security agencies. So that's why when they get a criminal, they just summarily burn the person to death, because they believe that if that criminal or the person who's stolen something, or the armed robber that is caught, or the kidnapper, if the police come and arrest the person or take the suspect to their station or wherever, that they're gonna set the person free, or the suspect could bribe his or her way to freedom. It happens every day. And you see in Nigeria, whereby when you are arrested by the police, you have to pay to get bailed. And you know, naturally, in advanced countries, or if you look at the constitution, the police doesn't have a right to keep someone more than a stipulated time. If you are arrested over a crime or any wrongdoing, I mean, if it's something that should be charged. Okay, let's take example with the guy, the IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu, that was arrested. He had to spend a lot of time in the dungeon of the DSS, the Nigerian Secret Police. They refused to charge him, you know, and this happened. His only issue is because it's a high-profile case. Millions of Nigerians are arrested. They are arrested time without number. When they are arrested, they are taken to the police. Instead of them to be charged to court, the police will not charge them. Some of them spend long time in detention. I mean, illegal detentions. They run illegal detentions. Then the police wait for their families, their relatives, their loved ones, or whoever to come and pay money to bail them. You see, these are the things that warrant, that make people summarily deliver jungle justice sorry, on people. When the Nigerian police arrest someone, they wait for families or relatives of the suspects to pay money, and the person will be. And unfortunately, this money doesn't go into the coffers of the states. It's shared from the divisional police officer or the divisional crime officer, and they in turn will give. I mean, they have money that they give to the commissioner of police. I don't know how they do it, weekly bi-weekly or monthly. I know these things. I've been in the system. So, and these are the things that make people, you want people to deliver jungle justice. In Nigeria, when the police arrest someone, it's never free. Every Nigerian, most Nigerians know about that. Unfortunately, the government has not done anything. Bail in Nigeria is not free. So that is why people have Nigerians doesn't have confidence in their police force because it's a very corrupt establishment. There's nothing you can tell Nigeria about the police. And this orientation or this mindset, most Nigerians travel with this mindset. And when they travel beyond their shores, they look at the police with that mindset. They look at the Nigerian police because the Nigerian police is very, very corrupt. It's extremely corrupt. They are stinking with corruption. I have seen the case whereby there are accidents on the road and the Nigerian police who came to see the situation of the accident victim search corpses and look at what they're going to get from the scene. This is one. I don't need to tell you about the fact that bail is not free in Nigeria. Bail is not free. These are the things why we are tired of that society. Because nothing works in that society. People, it's by intimidation. And when the law enforcement agents that are meant to protect the people cannot protect the people, they're not well positioned to arrest criminals. They are not well positioned to sort out issues bordering on security. People take laws into their hands. Yeah, I talked about this unprofessionalism, but we need to look at how they are paid too, and that is the corruption on the leadership. Some of you can Google or what the